Before diving into today's content, I should address the wildfires in the LA area, given that I have some LA area viewers on my channel, and given that my video today is LA themed. My heart goes out to all of you who have been affected by the wildfires in the Los Angeles area. I'm heartbroken for those of you who have lost your homes, your businesses, your houses of worship, your favorite restaurants, and so on. And I am most heartbroken for those whose loved ones have been lost to the wildfires. I know I have some LA area viewers on my channel, so even though it is off topic from today's video, I welcome comments where people talk about how they and their loved ones are doing. You all are in my thoughts. There's no perfect way to make a transition from talking about these wildfires to talking about my content today, especially since I recorded the rest of this video before the wildfires. But I guess we have to make the transition at some point, so here we go. I have to admit that my video on whether Los Angeles could host a car-free Olympics has led me down a bit of a rabbit hole. That rabbit hole involves imagining what improved rail transit in the LA metro area might look like. And that rabbit hole is evolving into a series of videos where I discuss lines that I think the LA area needs. One such line is a line that serves Dodger Stadium, as well as parts of Sunset Boulevard and Santa Monica Boulevard. Now yes, I know that there is a plan for aerial rapid transit between downtown LA and Dodger Stadium. However, as I mentioned in the LA Olympics video, I am skeptical as to whether it would make mass transit to and from the stadium as easy as it could or should. And, beyond my skepticism, there's been some legal fighting over whether the aerial rapid transit should even exist. I didn't cover that explicitly in my aforementioned video because talking about the legal wrangling was a rabbit hole I didn't even want to go down with that video. I have enough of them to deal with. I'm finding that the more time I spend dreaming about better American rail transit, the more rabbit holes I end up dealing with. Between my personal skepticism with the aerial rapid transit and the legal battling over it, I figure that it is worth my giving an alternative vision for rapid transit serving Dodger Stadium, as well as parts of Sunset and Santa Monica Boulevards. The case for rail transit to and from Dodger Stadium is, I think, an easy one. When you have a major stadium that holds 56,000 people, like Dodger Stadium, you need transit that can bring a lot of people to and from the stadium in a short amount of time. But I think this logic can be used for any major sporting stadium. What perhaps is less clear to people who haven't either spent time in LA or done a lot of research on transit in the LA area is why there should be a light rail line serving Sunset and Santa Monica Boulevards. The answer, for me, is simple. Because the demand is there. The Sunset Boulevard corridor is home to Line 2 in LA's bus system. The line had over 5.8 million riders in 2023. To put this into perspective, that's more riders than what was on the B46 in New York City last year, a bus line that operates on a Utica Avenue corridor that former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio wanted subway service on. The Santa Monica Boulevard corridor has a line with even higher ridership than Line 2. That line is Line 4. The line had over 7.5 million riders in 2023, which is a higher ridership than all but one bus line in New York City. A bus line that runs along an avenue that has gotten some subway service and should be in line for additional subway service, funding permitting. And these two corridors are not far from each other. Where both boulevards exist, they are only about half a mile from each other. And if you're to combine the ridership of these two nearby high-demand bus lines, you end up with 13.3 million riders, higher than the ridership of the LA Metro Light Rail E-Line, a line that is considered to be quite popular and busy. Considering all of this, there should be a rail line serving these corridors. But what would my plan be for these corridors? The plan would be for light rail transit heading from downtown Los Angeles to West Hollywood's Sunset Strip, mostly taking advantage of Sunset Boulevard and Santa Monica Boulevard. As to why I propose light rail rather than heavy rail, it's for two reasons: curves and elevation changes. There are several points along the path where there are some sharper curves and some elevation changes. Light rail can take sharper curves and deal with steeper elevation changes than their heavy rail siblings. I should make a special note about the elevation around Dodger Stadium, something that several commenters noted in my LA Olympics video. As to what that line looks like and where the stops are. The terminal stop would be at 7th Street Metro Center. That way, you can connect to other LA Metro lines at the station. The line would then run along Figueroa Street, and then have a stop by 2nd Street and Figueroa Street. There will be a connection here for the Grand Avenue Arts/Bunker Hill Station on the A and E lines. Figueroa Street leads into the 110, and the train would head along the 110 until it gets to Dodger Stadium. And then I have the train tunneling under some of the parking lots of Dodger Stadium, having a stop near the top deck stop for the Dodger Stadium Express from Union Station. What are the chances of tunneling under Dodger Stadium parking lots being allowed? Questionable, at best. But I'm going to allow myself to dream of what truly rail-centric transit to Dodger Stadium looks like, even if the chances of my dreams turning into reality are questionable. For the record, by far the most difficult part of planning this route is the Dodger Stadium part, both in figuring out how to get the train there, as well as in where to place this stop. So if you think my idea for getting this to Dodger Stadium isn't great, I'd love to hear better ideas for how to get to the stadium in the comment section below. I want this channel to be a forum where we imagine better rail transit in the United States, even if you might disagree with how I propose achieving that vision. Anyway, from Dodger Stadium, the line would run along Vince Scully Avenue over to Sunset Boulevard, and then it starts its journey along Sunset Boulevard. There would be a stop at Sunset Boulevard and Alvarado Street. There's access here to the Line 603 bus, and there is some higher density development in the area as well. The next stop would be at the intersection of Sunset Boulevard and Santa Monica Boulevard. This is where Santa Monica Boulevard starts. At this point, the line becomes a Santa Monica Boulevard line for nearly all of the rest of this journey. And I should probably explain why I have it running along Santa Monica Boulevard instead of Sunset Boulevard, when Santa Monica Boulevard begins. It's for two reasons. First, because the plurality of east-west bus riders use the Santa Monica Boulevard bus, indicating that demand for a light rail line would be highest along Santa Monica Boulevard. And second, because having the line along Sunset Boulevard means that there would be a stretch when it is only 0.3 of a mile away from the nearby B line, thus making a light rail line along Sunset Boulevard a little redundant. In contrast, Santa Monica Boulevard is about 0.8 of a mile away from the B line, thus allowing a light rail line to not be redundant with the B line. With that explanation out of the way, let's talk about the next stop, which would be at the intersection of Vermont Avenue and Santa Monica Boulevard. This stop would offer a transfer to the aforementioned B line, as this intersection is already home to a B line stop. The stop after then would be at Santa Monica Boulevard and Normandy Avenue. This would offer a connection to the Line 206 bus, which had over 2.6 million riders last year. The density of development in this area isn't too impressive, so this stop is all about offering a rail connection to that bus line, something that the B line to its north does not do. The following stop would be at Santa Monica Boulevard and Western Avenue. This would offer a valuable connection to the Line 207 bus, which had over 7.75 million riders in 2023. The area by the station is relatively well developed too, so I can imagine this being one of the higher ridership stops along this line. Continuing west, the next stop would be at Santa Monica Boulevard and Vine Street. Development around the station is somewhat higher density in nature. Additionally, it's a stop that would offer a critical connection to a bus line. In this case, It's line 210, which had over 4 million riders in 2023. There would then be a stop at La Brea Avenue and Santa Monica Boulevard. It would connect with the line 212 bus, which had over 2.75 million riders in 2023. Development is also higher density near the stop. The next to last stop would be at the intersection of Santa Monica Boulevard and Fairfax Avenue. This intersects with line 217, which had nearly 2.7 million riders in 2023. Development around this proposed stop feels like a mix of downtown small town vibes and some businesses with parking lots. Before the last stop, this train would take a turn onto Fairfax Avenue until it reaches Sunset Boulevard. And then at Sunset Boulevard, this line would make a westward turn onto Sunset Boulevard. And then the last stop would be at the intersection of Sunset Boulevard and La Cienega Boulevard, right in the middle of the Sunset Strip, right in the middle of West Hollywood. This would serve one of the most densely populated cities in the region, which is West Hollywood. It would also serve a major tourist destination with the Sunset Strip. I think this stop could be a slam dunk of a stop from a ridership standpoint. And I think that considering the amount of nightlife on the Sunset Strip, there's a public safety argument for providing better car-free options to and from there. You don't want people driving drunk. Before outlining my thoughts on the line, I just wanted to give you all a quick reminder to smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. If I'm counting correctly, this line would have 12 stops, and there would be many useful stops. This would be the first line to serve Dodger Stadium, the first line to go to densely populated West Hollywood, the first line to serve the Sunset Strip, and the first line to serve the heavily used transit corridors on Sunset and Santa Monica Boulevards. There are 3 challenges and 1 interesting variable with this line that I can see. Though, if there are other challenges or variables, I'm down to hear about them in the comment section below. Before talking about the challenges, I'll talk about the interesting variable. That variable is the future extension of the LA Metro K line. There are 3 options LA Metro is considering for the proposed extension of the K line. One of them is up La Brea Avenue, one of them is up Fairfax Avenue, and one of them is up parts of Fairfax Avenue and San Vicente Boulevard. The second and third options would also propose using parts of Santa Monica Boulevard. The second option would use Santa Monica Boulevard from Fairfax Avenue to Highland Avenue, and the third option would use Santa Monica Boulevard from San Vicente Boulevard to Highland Avenue. I mentioned this proposed K-line extension as an interesting variable because if LA Metro uses the second or third options, it could have ramifications for what makes sense for my light rail line proposal, given the overlaps that would then begin to exist between my proposal and the K-line extension. Once LA Metro figures out which alignment they'll go with, I may have to make edits to this proposal. For now, though, I'm going under the assumption that they will go with the first option, which is the one using La Brea Avenue, for the simple reasons that it's the most direct and the cheapest, given that it's hard to find money for any rail project these days. I should note, though, that fewer people are expected to benefit from the first option than the second or third options, so the route directly using La Brea Avenue comes with its downsides. Nevertheless, if my assumption is correct, I don't think I'll need to edit this specific proposal, unless commenters find major flaws with the proposal, of course. As for the 3 challenges, the first of them is having to deal with all the curves. There's the curve heading into Dodger Stadium, the curve from Vince Scully Avenue to Sunset Boulevard, a couple of curves on Sunset Boulevard, the turn onto Santa Monica Boulevard, the turn onto Fairfax Avenue, the turn onto Sunset Boulevard from Fairfax Avenue, and the curves on Sunset Boulevard at the end of the route. This is one twisty route, and that could provide an engineering challenge as well as be something that slows operational speeds down. I don't think the curves serve as an insurmountable challenge, because one of the advantages of light rail is the fact that it can navigate curves as sharp as a 90-degree turn at a street intersection. But it's a challenge that should be acknowledged. The second challenge is by far the biggest one, in my opinion, that of getting to Dodger Stadium. The first Dodger Stadium related issue is all of the elevation changes in the area. For elevation changes and trains don't mix well together, and there's quite a bit of elevation change around Dodger Stadium. What this means is that you'll probably need to do some expensive tunneling in the vicinity of the stadium in order to keep the train relatively level. There's also the challenge offered by the suboptimal geography of the streets around the stadium, making it tricky to plan a route that gets you close to the stadium without destroying lots of properties in the process. I think I succeeded with that challenge, with the one notable exception being the parking lots in the stadium itself. There's the challenge created by the sea of parking lots around the stadium, meaning that you'll either need to avoid tunneling into the stadium property but have a station nearly half a mile away from entrances, or else get significantly closer to entrances but tunnel through some parking lots in the stadium. Something that may be a turnoff for the leadership of the Los Angeles Dodgers baseball organization. As this channel dreams around an America that's train-centric rather than car-centric, I'm making the decision to tunnel through parking lots in the stadium itself, even if the chances of it happening in real life are questionable at best. As I said before, and as I'll say again, I'm open to other ideas on how to get this line proposal, or any proposal, close to Dodger Stadium, because while I think it is a challenge, it's also a challenge LA needs to confront if it is to ever have a great rail system. The third challenge is a challenge that I think you're going to encounter with many proposals: politics. Politics was why extending the subway west along Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles took decades longer than it should have. Would politics stunt the growth of the line I'm proposing? It's hard to say until it becomes a serious mainstream proposal, rather than a proposal from some rail fanatic YouTuber. These challenges are worth it in my opinion, because of the potential for high ridership along this line. As I said earlier in this video, the Sunset and Santa Monica Boulevard bus lines combined for 13.3 million riders last year, which is more than enough to justify some form of rail transit along this route. It is enough ridership to justify light rail for sure, and it is a line that would fill some critical gaps in LA's transit network. It fills such critical gaps that, perhaps, this proposal should be a higher priority than it currently is. This line doesn't go to Disneyland, but there can be other parts of the LA area where we should make rail dreams come true.